Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back. Today we're going to be checking out my entire studio space. That includes the Lego City, the shelving rooms, and also the build area as of the end of 2024. The interesting thing about this Lego Studio overview is it's actually the first time that I've ever done it. Classically, I would do these every few months just to recap what we've been able to achieve, but for the majority of this last year, I've been working on developing this massive studio and I haven't had a chance to showcase absolutely everything. First thing I want to talk about is the size of the collection and the size of the studio. So my collection consists of nearly 2,000 Lego sets. Brickset says around 1,563. I don't know if that's accurate because I'm sure I missed ticking that box on some of them. And the size of the studio is quite large. So with the rooms, the back bay area with the Lego City, and also the upstairs working space and the kitchen area, it is a grand total of 3,100 square feet. The city itself is 1,040 base plates, that's 27 by 38.5, and square footage wise, it's actually 720, so it's quite large. So we obtained this new studio space in March of 2024, and it took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make it look the way that it does. Just like a ton of renovations had to go into this place because it looked terrible. And once the renovations were done, we had to go about building all of these fixtures, and included in that was the massive Lego City tables. Now, of course, in this video, we're going to be going over the entire studio, but I actually want to start with the Lego City. The Lego City can be split into 11 different major sections. We have the beach, the countryside, zoo, amusement park, the very beautiful Ninjago district, the harbor, which actually shares its real estate with the train yard. The Winter Village is not currently included in the Lego City layout, but eventually it will be, so this is one of the major sections. Below the boatyard is the underwater scene. Maybe I should have included the subway as well, because that's going to eventually run the entire perimeter of the city with a bunch of different scenes. Something else that I could have included is maybe the medieval area, but we'll just call it 11 sections for now. The citizens, Dursleys, Simpsons, and McAllisters, have to live somewhere, so we've got the residential area. And last, but definitely not least, we have the downtown core, which consumes approximately 1/3 of the total Lego City layout. So yeah, it's definitely pretty big. I love the fact that it's split into the 11 different sections because I feel like each section is its own little diorama. I can get in here and I can fix a minifigure or work on certain aspects of the different sections. So that's pretty cool. But as we go through and showcase everything, you're going to notice that there's a lot of things that are still under construction and not yet complete. Well, that's to be expected because when we moved from my basement to the larger studio space, the city over tripled in size. The beach is one of my favorite areas in the Lego City because it just looks so good. There's so many stories here, interesting minifigures, characters, and sea creatures, and surfing, sharks, and people just enjoying the water. But I can't say that it's done yet because there is a lot of space that's open for the taking in the beach, and this is Lego, so stories and positions of buildings and all that can always change. For example, right back here we have the snack shack. And in front of the snack shack, we've got a lot of open space where I just put this volleyball net. We could redevelop this into something else. And recently I started developing the newly expanded downtown core. And I was thinking maybe I should relocate that skate park, give it more real estate, and build a better skate park. I think that might be pretty cool. Sits right beside a parking lot, and then there's the 1950s diner right there. And I love these little mini modular buildings. They're all Creator 3-in-1 sets, so there's like a bike shop, a deli, a noodle shop, a toy store, a surf skate shop. And what I've done is taken 2 sets or just a bunch of parts from my inventory, and I've redeveloped them into mini modular buildings so they actually have a closed back and make sense in a downtown area, or like in a Lego City setting, I should say. But I just love this beach just because it's so colorful. You've got all the underlying plate underneath those trans-light blue tiles, the nice cove right here, linking up to the lighthouse, and there's also a really nice looking fish market over here, and this angled road leading up to the boat docks or harbor, and another Creator 3-in-1 set, which is actually the Ferris wheel pairs up quite nicely on the beach as well. And we've got this angled boardwalk here, which connects to those little mini modular buildings and continue along right here where we have the waterfront in front of downtown, which connects to the canal, and another little cove over here. Now, there are so many things that I plan on doing and I want to work on improving. And I don't think in this video I'm going to go on about the changes that I'd like to make, such as the connection over here for the boardwalk and the pedestrian underpass going underneath the bridge, because if I continue to go on about all the things that I want to do rather than featuring the things that are already done, we will be here for hours on end, because I have tons of plans for absolutely everything everywhere in my Lego city. But boy, oh boy, this set is incredible. But that's like the little beach diorama that we've got going on right now. Another reason why I wanted to start with the beach is because that's the waterfront. That's the first thing you see when you look at the Lego city, and it's the most complete. I sort of started in the front here, and then as I move back, it gets a little less complete. It doesn't look quite as polished, but I wanted to make sure that foreground with the water looked complete. That was the first thing that I worked on, and included in that, of course, is the harbor, where we've got all of these amazing boats and overhead cranes and beautiful deep water with underlying plate, cheese slopes, and 1x4 tiles, that lighthouse, and a boat ramp, and then just some road plates that were built up using light bluish gray brick, and eventually this is all going to get like roped off and details will be added to it. And I decided to embed the train track right into the elevated plates there. I thought that was pretty cool because it matched up with the overhead crane. And then we have our large control center there as well, and you can see the train split off and come into here. So we will get some trains fired up later on in this video as well, but that's what we've got going on for the harbor at the moment. Now, just beyond that, we continue the train yard. We've got all these nicely ballast plates here. I'm still working on ballasting all of the switches. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, just ordering the necessary 3D printed ballast plates or parts to do that. There's also the old train engine shed right there, and then one of my original mocks that needs to be destroyed and rebuilt, which is my train engine shed there. This area, once again, not developed yet, but still looking presentable, which I enjoy. Because we're on the topic of trains, we may as well feature my train track. This is one style that I have in the city. So it's got underlying plate, and then it's fully tiled off, and it matches up with the road here. You can see the road servicing the backside of the beach. And then I've got some untreated track here, and it transitions into the ballast line. So you can see how it's embedded and then eventually pops up, and then the ballast lines run through the entire countryside. So we've got a couple different styles of track, whether that be ballast or integrated right into the mills with the tile top. Something else I've been working on is actually insetting the gravel road into the mills plates as well. It takes a lot more parts to do it this way rather than just putting the gravel road on top, but I plan on having a couple different combinations of gravel road running throughout my countryside. And you can see this here is the untopped stuff that is integrated right into the mills, and then we have the topped stuff. So eventually it's all going to be topped with the gravel look like that there. And then there is going to be some gravel roads further on down into the countryside that sit on top of the mills work as well. But I like having the two different combinations. I think having it right in the plate is just so cool. It is tricky getting that math perfect in some areas, especially when you're trying to integrate an incline. It makes it quite time consuming to build, but I think the end result looks really good. And the integration of the road matches the creek as well, because that's integrated right into the mills plate. And so is the runway on the airstrip, where you've got a plane taken off there, propane tank windsock, and a little service shed. Not a shed, but a building, I should say. Whoever's operating the airstrip lives there. And then we got some elevated plates in behind that. These ones aren't quite done yet, but there is a integration plate for the Winnie the Pooh set. And behind that is the tree house. And over here is a really nice scene with the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, along with their cottage. You can see them all working away there, and all the critters are saying hello to Snow White. And then there is a pond there that's quite inset into the mills as well. It's something that I really like doing, is using the depth to your advantage. When you're building with mills, you may as well get some of that depth, whether it be with a road or water, train track, whatever it may be. So you've got a beautiful little scene there with those three sets, and you can see that's actually elevated using some assistance. And that assistance is offered to us by wood. Sometimes it takes a lot of parts when you want to brick build something like that, just because you've got to brick build that height. And you can see I've brick built it over here, but then I transitioned into wood just to try and conserve some parts. Just down the way, we've got the road that I was talking about, which has a little bit of elevation, and it's also integrated right into the mill's plate. It takes a lot of math and a lot of Lego parts to get that angle and to have it blend right in. I think once we cross the bridge here, I'm going to transition into the other style of road where it's actually on top of the mill's plate. All of this stuff here has to be raised up to the same height, and you can see here I decided not to use wood, which was definitely a bold move. Yeah, that is pretty intense, but we've got this really nice depth here for this river, which is going to meander through the countryside just like the road. And eventually this road is going to meet up with a tunnel, which is going to be right over there, and this river will continue to meander through and eventually lead off the table right by our tree farm. We've got a bunch of trees on reserve and some other sets as well. Here we go. From the backside, you can see that bold move there of the use of bricks rather than wood to create the elevation. Speaking of elevation, we've got this right here, which is a giant mountain module, more so a hill, I guess. This is a hill that leads up to the raised platform where we have the residential area and also the botanical garden. And these modules are pretty cool. They are all brick built, so there's no wood in here. It's all brick built. You can see all the supports within, and you can see how giant these chunks of hill or mountain are. Eventually, they're all going to be detailed, like all of the mountains in our city are going to be like this, not like this here. But that sort of encompasses the entire countryside. A lot of work to do there, but I think it's coming along great, and I can't wait to make it all look cohesive like that. And beside us is the zoo. The zoo is looking all right. It's got its mills plates made, it's got the wall made, it's got the base construction for the rock backdrop made, and it has a really nice bird aviary right in the center. Entrance out front of that, and also barn animals right here. Hopping to the other side, we can see some more exhibits which are actually completed. We have seals, penguins in the center, and polar bears over here on the right. I've started doing some tile work over here. Eventually this entire zoo will be tiled off in all different colors, and then you can also see the monkey exhibit or monkey enclosure right there, which uses ladder elements and the 1x6x5 glass panels. So yeah, we got monkeys and some Arctic, along with the aviary and some birds, but that's it so far for the zoo. Just above the zoo, I decided to place the LEGO Ideas Botanical Garden. It's a beautiful set. I think it's a nice centerpiece to have above the zoo. I think we'll be able to do some beautiful landscaping up here, which is going to match the feel of the zoo and also the hill to the left of it. I think if I blend this area in with a nice natural landscape, it'll be a nice transition from the downtown core to the zoo and the countryside. On the back side of the botanical garden, we've got some houses here, such as the Up House, also the beautiful Creator 3-in-1 houses. Whatever happened to Creator 3-in-1 houses? Oh my gosh, these things are incredible. Now the residential area is up top here. It hasn't always been up top here. It still needs some work, such as the ramps and details, but I've been working on other things. And over here to my left is an example of what these mountains look like these ones here, without any parts on them. That's the skeleton structure. There's another representation of it. Yeah, once you start adding parts, it definitely transforms them, and those parts go a long way. Here's the other side of the residential area. As you saw earlier, we've got the Dursleys, Simpsons, and McAllisters, along with a school. And on this side, you can see the ramp that I created, so vehicles can actually drive from the downtown up to the residential, and people can gain access to their houses. So yeah, that really worked out. I think this ramp looks really nice with the masonry wall and the vegetation creeping up the side of it. The nice angle there, the retaining wall or platform covering, that's what I call it, in behind, matching up with the other ones with the arches and the rocks along the bottom. This is a tunnel entrance which will pop out on the other side over there, and eventually I'll be fixing up these roads so they actually make sense. But this, I think, matches up nicely with the retaining wall over here for Ninjago, which I recently destroyed due to it not working the way I wanted it to work. So that's currently being developed. And eventually the water is going to match like this here, and we're going to build up there. And this is where our mountains are going to go. Originally, I thought the mountains were going to be stretching throughout the entire center, but then I decided to bring some buildings up here and replace the mountain idea, which I think will be cool because it's going to give us more of a forced perspective, because it's going to be low here and then the mountains are going to build up there. So originally I thought these were going to be mountains and that was going to be the foot of the mountain, but now that is officially a hill. In my opinion, some of the best Lego sets ever made are the Ninjago City, docks, markets, and gardens, and that's why I have them up on this shorter raised platform presented in the Lego City with the beautiful water going around it, and that platform is concealed by the hybrid platform covering, so it's not just like a stone wall. It's a lot of rock. There's a tunnel there and some other tunnels there for trains. And then the start of this new hill or foot of the mountain here, which actually curves right around, concealing this elevated platform, and eventually is going to actually go in front of these two rides, which will be built into a mountain as well. I had some spare platform coverings and also a bunch of spare base plates. So before starting this video, I base plated this entire area, and I also relocated these. I base plated this entire area and also base plated that area over there, just because I prefer looking at studs rather than white tables. But I definitely think that I'm heading in the right direction here in regards to the mountains, and also the mountains on the other side, and the idea for the larger ones spanning throughout the center here. I think once these are created, it's going to provide a beautiful background or backdrop for the Lego City, and it's going to give us a home for all of these Ninjago temples, also the shrine, and on the tallest peak, we're going to put that Mountain View Observatory, and then we'll scatter buildings and structures throughout the countryside, such as custom houses or Hocus Pocus or the general store or farms, campgrounds, all of those different things. Below the deep water here found in the harbor, we have the deep sea area. I added some elevation and just planted some base plates there on the back wall for now, but eventually this area will be further developed with sea life and stories and a lot more landscaping, that's for sure. I like the direction that it's heading. It just requires a lot of work. Speaking of work, holy cow, we've got this subway, which needs to be developed, but I'm glad that the infrastructure is there, just because I think it's a really neat idea to have trains circling around the entire perimeter of the city. Not currently part of the Lego City, but it is the medieval area, and technically it could be integrated into the city. That was my original thought process. We have quite a few awesome builds here, like this giant castle, the tower beside it, Megisto's Tower, which is like one of the oldest Lego sets in my collection. this huge Creator 3-in-1 castle. I think I used 6 sets to create this monster with the moat. All sorts of cool landscaping all throughout. There is the jousting set over there, also the medieval blacksmith, the D&D set, and the Lion Knight's castle along with the medieval town square. All sort of clustered together for right now, but one day I will develop that. And something I was able to develop recently was, of course, the Winter Village. I did a full overview on this, and I will be moving this back to the Lego City shortly, probably in the month of February, I would say, maybe March. Maybe it'll sit here until March, but I wouldn't mind working on the surrounding area around the base of it, which of course is going to be a ski slope and all that. But there's just so many fun stories here, so much detail, and I really enjoyed putting this together with Mrs. Bricksie. It was a blast, and I'm glad that we got it done in time for the holidays here in 2024. Something else that I could potentially work into the Lego City, and the plan originally was my mansion here. Like, this thing is massive, it's fully custom, there's all sorts of details inside. It is crazy. The problem is it's way too big. It used to be on my diorama surface, so we made it massive with the huge garage for all the Speed Champion vehicles, the ferry for transporting those Speed Champion vehicles on and off the private island that this was. Also, it has a movie theater inside, an arcade with a bowling alley and a kitchen and wine cellar, bedroom, all that different stuff. But the problem is it's just way too big. So what I could do is blow this thing up, and that's probably going to be my plan. Well, I'm not actually going to blow it up. You know what I mean? Take it apart, and I'll reuse the parts to create a smaller mansion for the Lego City. Now, surprisingly enough, the entire amusement park, which is known as Bricksie Land, is actually fully mill-splated off. So I've taken the time to reinforce all of these base plates. So this area is ready to go. And there's going to be different height variations, such as the mountain, which will be underneath the roller coaster and the haunted mansion. And then there might be some subtle ones throughout as well. But this area will be fully tiled off, fully detailed with vegetation, minifigures, stories, games, food stands, all of that different stuff. And then we've got the train track, which actually flows through this whole area as well. And you can see some of those embedded curves that I was talking about, or embedded tracks. That's an example of the curve there. And that goes right around. There's actually 2 different lines. So this is the main city line, which will go around the entire perimeter. And then there's this line here where the Hogwarts Express is, which will actually pass underneath all of this mountain, which is another reason why I think it is so important to have it modular. Because if I derail a train underneath a mountain and the mountains are not modular, there's going to be a problem with that. So yeah, we're ready to go for developing the amusement park. The first thing I need to do is continue that mountain there and actually cut the platform, which is going to support those 2 rides, so that I can get that elevation built into it and better visualize what's going to go down over there. Now, one of the major improvements that I want to make to my Lego City in 2025 is actually the introduction of 9-volt train track. I think I'm going to be ordering official Lego 9-volt train track, which of course they don't make anymore. That is going to eliminate the need for battery boxes. It's going to encourage me to operate my trains a lot more because I don't have to swap batteries, and it just makes it so much more efficient and easier to use. But you can see the white high-speed passenger train, which actually was the first Lego train I ever got, I believe. Maybe it was the cargo train or heavy haul train right there, the red one. But it's making its way around the perimeter line. Now, if I do decide to get 9-volt train track, I will only be changing the perimeter line to it, just because I don't think it's necessary to, for example, put it around the amusement park or put it into the train yard. I think it's only necessary to change the primary line. But you can see the loop that it just did there. It does have the option to switch right there and run into this train if it so chooses, and go underneath over there, and there is a switch track. So we covered the majority of the areas, and the last major one is the downtown core. One more thing about the Bluetooth receiver, it's actually funny, sometimes the train will disconnect just because the train goes too far away from the remote. But you can see my remote there sitting on top of my brick bank, which actually has an additional floor added onto it. And we have the road ramp right here, and the train passes over the canal. So there's actually 3 bridges there, one for the train, one for the vehicles, and one for the pedestrians. Then there's the Lego City downtown set. I used multiple of those to create a massive building, and that sits beside the City Press, donut shop, police station, and the corner garage. All of those have been modified and increased in size. This has been doubled. So if these 2 here, and this one here just had an additional floor with a custom interior put inside. One of the newest sets that was introduced into the Lego City is the Brick Cross train station, and that's right across the street from all those beauties. Around the corner from that, we have the Birch Bookshop and also the Grand Emporium, and across the street there is another Bricklink Designer Program set, which is the Parisian Street. So that's the initial buildings that we see when we come to the downtown core here. I really like all these buildings. I think they're awesome, almost as awesome as Mac. There's lots of minifigures and vehicles absolutely everywhere. When you have a look at the canal, you can see all sorts of stories everywhere as well. And I've evenly distributed lampposts, vegetation, all that type of stuff. You got the fire brigade with the Canada flag just around the corner there, and the Bricklink Designer Program construction site, that massive Lego truck, and all of our road plates are nose plated, and you'll see some parking on the side of the streets. On the side of the road, sometimes they're built right into the road plates, along with another parking lot, which is currently empty right there. Let's put somebody parking. There we go. It's always fun moving the vehicles around. And right here we have our farmer's market with all of the different stalls and vendors. There's the entrance to it right there, along with the Spring Lantern Festival, the Disney costume shop across the canal there. Grab a coffee there, or go for a refreshing beverage at the Tudor Corner. Do some detectives work at the detective's office there. Get some pet food, maybe check out the History Museum, go for a nice bite at the Parisian restaurant, or listen to some beautiful music at the Jazz Club while enjoying your stay at the Boutique Hotel. Just watch out, we've got some folks that are solving mysteries. It's a nice fountain plate right here in front of the Lego store and the Palace Cinema on the corner, right across the street from Central Park, which actually has the Tranquil Garden built right into it. Also a different botanical garden, which is the Lego Friends set. Actually used 2 of them to create a really nice version. So yes, we do have 2 botanical gardens, but this one is out front of the town hall. It's the town hall modular building with a nice grand staircase, the fountain, some planters, and a couple half base plate corner modules, and some room for the taking on the backside. Eventually I'm going to be building custom corners for the town hall to expand it to 2 base plates, similar to what I did with the Boutique Hotel. And these will be spun around, put on the backside, and we're going to build something that matches up with the Venetian feel of the Venetian houses. And of course, that will be sitting on the canal, which goes throughout the downtown core. The Sitcom Tower and Pop Culture Street. Oh my gosh, there's a giant battle. Holy cow, it's the Avengers Tower. Yeah, there is quite a few stories on this street, and it is pretty hectic. We've got the Ghostbusters HQ, the Gringotts Bank, and behind that, of course, is Diagon Alley, 12 Grimwald Place, the Ministry of Magic, Sesame Street on the end, Full House, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and across the street is the massive Daily Bugle, along with some custom skyscrapers. The Sanctum Sanctorum sits beside the Avengers Tower. Another couple, actually a few custom, actually 4 custom skyscrapers, the hospital, the Imagination Station, the SIG Tower, and then there is this one here, which sort of matches up with the Sanctum Sanctorum. Also the 8 Studs train station, sorry, Studgate train station, not 8 Studs. And that one's been expanded and modified. So we've got the entrance on this side and another entrance on this side here. And I actually grew it widthwise so that these 2 train lines are 8 studs apart because it wasn't classically like that. So I modified that. I also put parking on this side and parking on the other side as well. Yeah, there's that other parking lot there. I must say I'm not a huge fan of the position of a lot of these buildings. They are pretty random, specifically this one here, and it could all change again. This block has just sort of been floating around quite a bit. But on the back side over here, you can see 101 Dalmatians and Breakfast at Tiffany's, and also the Peter Parker's apartment and the pizza shop. There's the night bus, about to pull into the Quickie Mart there. And then that brings us back to the residential area, along with Ninjago, and there's a nice gas station right here, along with some of the counterparts of the Birch Bookshop and Pet Shop, which go snug up against the back of the bowling alley, and across the street from the Monster Fighters Haunted House. This was a Lego City set that I modularized. That is the tuning shop, and right here is the bowling alley. Shows a Bricklink designer program set, and you can see the custom built parking lot in front of it. Now this set originally was only 1 floor, but I used some rebrickable instructions to create a 2nd floor. And there's another rebrickable model. This is actually a Hogwarts castle. Switch that into a university. That's another building that's been floating around sort of randomly. And on the back side of the townhouses, we have our custom built dog park with the really cool masonry wall and all sorts of stories, along with some elevation integrated into the mills. There's a lot of open space right here, and that's right beside the turnaround for the entrance to the amusement park, and all of these modular buildings like the downtown diner, another Creator 3-in-1 mod, a custom Starbucks costume shop, and then a rebrickable flower shop. So a combination of like custom Lego sets and rebrickable models integrated into our downtown core. And there you go. It's pretty colorful. It's pretty large. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot more that can be done to the downtown core, but I'm pretty happy with the look of it at this particular time. I think it's great. We've got a lot of fantastic ideas in the works, and in general, I'm really happy with the city and the different developments that we've been able to make throughout 2024, and I definitely look forward to the future, especially with the amusement park, Ninjago area, mid-mountains, and the countryside. Yeah, there we go. That's everything in the Lego City. I hope you enjoyed it, everybody. Let's check out some of the other things here in the studio. So yeah, the city, it takes like the majority of the space back here in the bay, but then as we walk forward, you can see how many steps it takes to get by the city. We can see some feature walls, and those feature walls have the art. So we've got all the Star Wars arts in the bottom there, and then Elvis and the King up top, along with Iron Man, Mickey and Minnie, and some of the DC ones. And between the 2 doors there, we have the world map, and some other ones on the ground here. We've got the world map with all the different postcards, and then we have our HVAC above, which is actually a cold air return, and some boxes. Those are the only boxes in my collection on top of that cold air return, along with the classic Bricksie sign. Now what I plan to do, I actually have a whole bunch of white base plates, and that's why you can see I used a lot of them on this surface here, but I've got even more. And my plan is to attach those white base plates to the HVAC there. Yeah, and that's gonna put a face on it, We could put designs on it if we so choose. We could put minifigures on it. We could put nothing. It could just be stud covered. I think it'd look better than a like metallic HVAC. So I'm going to do that relatively soon. I'm going to go with white because it matches the paint job that we did here. That's another thing that we did when we took over this place or built this place, is we did the cloud mural as you saw there, and we also painted the other rooms. Then we've got the Captain America shield there. Just below Spider-Man, there's the washroom. Also the YouTube play button above the mansion, the 3D print station there, some spare carpet tile because of course we added carpet to this whole studio, which really pulled it all together. And then there's some storage right by the electrical box there. And then we come into the shelving rooms. Now this used to be a French door here. I removed the French door so it was an open concept. I think I like that decision because I like looking into the Lego city space. Like when you come in here and you see that and you're like, oh, it's amazing. I just love that. But we've got our Star Wars room here. Some of the most epic sets are right in the center, such as the Millennium Falcon Star Destroyer, Super Star Destroyer, and Venator. And then there's the massive UCS shelf over here as well, where we have the Death Star 2, Razor Crest, AT-AT Walker, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter Advanced, TIE Interceptor, Imperial Shuttle TIE Fighter, and then all of the character builds, which, well, buildable figures, which I actually recently put right here. That shelf that I want to put there is actually in stock at IKEA, so I gotta go run and get that maybe tomorrow before they sell it again. But you've got some Slave Ones there, also the Darth Vader's castle, the giant Darth Vader on the bottom, and a bunch of other smaller sets on the side. And it really frames that door going into the other shelving room quite nicely. Some more UCS stuff here, like the gunship, the Jabba's sail barge, another MBS set, which is the Death Star. I call it an MBS one. Same with the Mos Eisley Cantina, and then some random Lord of the Rings stuff there as well. Rivendell, Tower of Orthanc, and Barad-dûr. And then a lot of the smaller Star Wars stuff on these shelves over here. These are the Billy bookcases that I use. They're just like bookshelves from IKEA. And the larger ones behind me are the PAX wardrobe units. A bunch of UCS stuff here and a bunch of smaller Star Wars sets as well. I'm not going to list off every set, but I definitely could. All the TIE fighters along the top. Just rapid fire list off every set. I love the B-Wing here. UCS Slave 1, C-3PO, Chewbacca, and R2-D2. Another Jabba's sail barge, some Star Destroyers down here. Yavin 4, Sandcrawler, Land Speeder, A-Wing, Tantive 4, the Ghost, smaller Razor Crest, Sith Infiltrators, Y-Wing, Justifier, AT-AT Walkers, the entire Lego Star Wars helmet collection, some lightsabers beside the life-size Mandalorian helmet up top there, all the mid-scale ships, the UCS General Grievous. He's taking care of the thermostat for me. Thanks for keeping it warm in here, buddy. Appreciate it. All the AT-ST Walkers, also Millennium Falcons, and the Diorama series right down here, which just presents so well, and all of the characters too, which are great. The newest one being Grogu, and the floating pram. And there's the Snowspeeder there too. So that's all the Lego Star Wars sets in this room here. And then we move into the next room, which has all of the other stuff, all of the other themes. So if you can't find it in the Star Wars room, or if you can't find it in the Lego City, well, then it's in here. We've got the DC shelf on the left with the Batwing and Batmobiles, all sorts of Batmobiles. The dust collectors, oh no! I do my best to keep on top of the dust with air purifiers and also vacuum, a little mini vacuum, and just dusting in general. But the black sets generally show off the dust quite well. 66 Batmobile was recently added to the shelf here. And I recently cycled some of the sets upstairs too, where we have more sets on display, and that's where we do all the building. We got our Marvel shelves next with the Thor's hammer and also Captain America's shield. The Guardians of the Galaxy ships. Haven't decided to put this one in the city yet. That's the X Mansion. We've got all the characters up top there, which I think look great together. And the giant Hulkbuster, I'm going to be building the rebrickable model. When we get upstairs, you'll see that I have that parted out ready to go. But we have the smaller UCS style Hulkbuster right down here, which is significantly smaller. And then we move on to Harry Potter. Got the arrival of the other schools. I don't know why they haven't built more of these. They really should do some superheroes and stuff. They just did Harry and Hermione and then they were done with it. I don't know why. Oh no, they did that other one too, which is right there. But they should do more. I mean, they did the pirate and the minifigure tribute, or no, whatever. You know what I mean. The pirate's called the minifig tribute, but they should do more, like Star Wars ones and superheroes and stuff like that. They're giving us another one of these, the Diagon Alley set, and there's another set that we could probably put in the city, which of course is the Burrow and Disney, along with Vincent Van Gogh on top, and the Lion King. Mickey and Minnie, Walt Disney tribute camera, the Nightmare Before Christmas, and all the nice small display castles. In Agrabah. I love this rebrickable model right here with the Disney World representation. More Disney. The Royal Clamshell up top. Wally and Stitch right above Steamboat Willie. Disney Villains, and the Disney train station, which could also go into the Lego City, but it's just on reserve right here for now because we haven't developed that amusement park yet. Some movie-related ones, and then also dinosaurs. And some Transformers and Pikachu up top. That Pikachu is a Mega Construct set. Vikings, which could go in the medieval area at some point. Same with the pirate ship. And some Mario stuff. Piranha Plant, such a great set. Pac-Man down there beside Bowser, which is also a great set. Both of them are actually, and the question mark block. The NES. There's the two other minifigures that I was talking about. A minifig tribute, that's Redbeard, and then this one here, upscaled minifig. That's what it's called. There you go. Some plants up top there, beside the cat. Oh no, that's not a good recipe, right? Cats love to mess around with plants. You got some insects, also the kingfisher. These two awesome Lego Idea sets. Typewriter down below, along with the retro radio, Galaxy Explorer, Benny's spaceship, a little bit of architecture stuff, the Brickheads display, which still isn't built, and some Avatar stuff. I love Avatar. The movies are great. And we have some Brickheads right there above my book collection. That's just my small book collection. And a bunch of Brickheads, which will eventually migrate onto that shelf there. There's the Legend of Zelda set. Hogwarts Express. The Orient Express. Large Technic set. And then behind me is the Eiffel Tower, along with the Colosseum. Another Marvel set, Helicarrier, the Boeing Dreamliner, piano, Concorde, and also an alternate build done by Boone, the Lego Master, and that's an alternate build of the Colosseum. I don't think you can find that on Rebrickable anymore, ever since he became a Lego designer. But there you go. That's the very colorful room. And then the light and dark gray room for Lego Star Wars. Actually, there's a few colorful ones in here. Some of them are, you know, reddish brown, and some of them might be orange and yellow too. I spot one there. But there you go. That's the shelving rooms. They're pretty awesome. They've got a lot of room for growth, and there's definitely a lot of creative ways that I can put a lot more Lego in these rooms to make them look even better. There's a lot of space that is dedicated to just displaying Lego sets in this studio. That's for sure. Like, these two rooms are massive, and when push comes to shove, they could be turned into diorama rooms if we run out of room for dioramas in this room. I don't know. What are the odds of that? Still got a lot of work to do over here. So now we make our way up the stairs into the studio space. Might be a little bit of a mess up here, because this is where I do all the work. Does it naturally look clean? No, of course not. Come on. It's got to make a mess for creativity, right? See, for example, I was unpacking all those base plates. I filled an entire recycle bag. I was telling you that I was putting all the base plates out. Well, there you go. This is where we do all the building and everything. We have our fully sorted parts inventory, and on top of the parts inventory, we've got the Speed Champions display case, the Titanic, the Globe, the 66 Bat Cave, a couple epic castles, the Disney Castle and the Hogwarts Castle, also the Upside Down, the Endurance, along with some other pirate ships, and Santa Claus. Of course, all of our parts, well, not all of them, but a lot of them are sorted quite nicely. We're working on it. We're trying to identify all our drawers and trying to continue to 3D print more containers so that they are just perfectly sorted. But they, like, the system that we have is good, but it's not quite done yet. It's something else that we want to get done in 2025, is get everything identified, get everything sorted, and work on sorting our bulk, which is under there in those boxes, and also underneath this table here, and bulging out the back as well. For the most part, we do all our building right here on the sit-stand desk, and then I do a lot of editing on the laptop there if I'm doing it remotely, or on my desktop, which is right here. We have a TV in the studio, so you can turn it on, watch some hockey or something while you're building. And then we've got all of our vehicles right here, the Technic supercars, some of the smaller Technic ones, all of the other Speed Champions, the newest Lego Technic supercar. These are full of tires, believe it or not. That's why we put them by the vehicles there. And then we've got all the Lego Creator Expert vehicles as well. And then some other miscellaneous stuff up top, like my shadow box full of brick separators. Then we custom built these cabinets here, which serves as the pony wall for the mezzanine space here. And in these cabinets right now are a bunch of duplicate sets that I have duplicates of because I buy and sell collections. So those are all currently being stowed away right here. It is overwhelming how much there is at this particular time, but that will slowly change as we just continue to move and process those. And then for the most part, all of these right here are duplicate sets as well. So that's all the duplicate sets in the collection that I've just sort of stowed away over time throughout the years, throughout the, how many years now? 9, almost 10 years of collecting that I've done here. And then we have a small kitchen space right here. And while you're making lunch or eating or making a coffee, you get to look at some really cool space sets. And you can lean on over and say, whoa, look at that. Isn't that cool? Right on. That's what I like about this place here, is you always get a really good view of the Lego city. It is excellent. You can always just scope it out and say, which area in the city do we want to work on next? I absolutely love that view. It is, it's amazing. It puts a smile on my face every single day, and so does an organized workstation, which we're working on. It's not perfect yet, but it gets the job done. And this is where all the magic happens, in the studio space up here on the mezzanine overlooking the Lego City. So here we go. This is a classic view. I actually did this same picture when we first got this studio and once we were done the renovations. And here it is again. Well, we were, or after we get the Lego City in here. It's been a journey, everybody. I appreciate the fantastic year that we had here in 2024. It was amazing, and I can't wait to continue working on just everything in general. It's gonna be awesome. Thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and have yourselves a fantastic day. Bye for now.